Hello everyone. So I I said in the previous video, if you're watching this on chronological order, that I'm going to do in the end of the month like a wrap up of all the books I've read, but I wanted to make some brief videos because I want to delve more on those on some books, and this one I've talked about Herald of Ruin in the last book. Probably I'm going to do another video dealing with these two books I'm currently reading. Um, maybe later on the month, or maybe I don't know when I can do that. Probably in the last few days of the month. But I want to talk more about another book that I've read because I read more than these ones, but all of those I'm going to speak briefly because they are either part of a series or part of a manga, so maybe I'm not going to delve much on them independently. But this one, yes. So, I'm going to talk about the book, which is Peter. I'm going to butcher the name, I'm sorry. Fehervari. That's how I. Hungarian name, I would say. I don't know. The Reverie. I mean, I can speak English. I'm sorry. So, this is a book set in the Warhammer 40k. And as you know, it's a shared world with all the people involved and so on. Each author sometimes, like for example Graham McNeil, he wants to talk about ultramarines, and so he gave life to real Ventris, or Ben Counter gave life to soul drinkers, and other authors try. Okay, I'm going to do this. This is going to be my thing, and Peter went another way. So Peter started writing some novels set in within the Warhammer 40k. But as the books were coming out, or short stories, mostly short stories, we start people start noticing, there are some connections here and there, and those connections nowadays we call it the dark coil. Okay, I'm going to show you something just so you know. This is the first one omnibus, and there is another omnibus like this. This is dark coil ascension, and there is another dark coil omnibus edition that collects everything that he wrote within this, well, within that shared universe, the Hammer 40k, within that universe. And people have been making chronological stuff because he didn't write everything in one go. So people start doing stuff that would help understand better and to read chronologically. Um, I I do believe that some books will need some context. And what I mean by this, the first book I read by him was a couple last year, or is this year? I don't remember. I read a book called The Cult of Spiral Dawn, which had a novel plus a small novella or short story, I don't know what to call it, called Cast a Hungry Shadow. And I didn't enjoy it. I was lost reading that novel. And so I said, okay, maybe Peter is not for me, because it's not. If you go to Goodreads, or if you go to some forums dealing with Black Library novels, you kind of understand that Peter writes differently from other authors. It's a beautiful craft, wordsmith, um, dealing less with what we call bolter porn, if you call it that, but more with the characters, okay, and the situation, the chaos, everything. And I believe I made a beautiful, okay, not beautiful, but I made a good review on Goodreads because it took me a while to do that. But I made what I think is one of my best reviews there. And in that review, I speak a lot about this book, about what I felt about it, some words, and so on. And as I said, Dark Coil is a collection of, in this case, stories that have in the center one book, which is called Requiem Infernal. And then there are several worlds dealing with several characters, several in this case, a Space Marine chapter, which is Angels Resplendent. Later they will be called Angels Penitent. There are some dealings with Tau, which is like, for example, the book it's Firecast. And then there are some dealing with not Tyranids, but okay, the other ones I'm missing. I'm sorry, I'm missing the name of them. It's not Tyranids. It's the guys that go to the planet to before Tyranids invasion. But you know what I mean. Which is called of Spiral Dawn. And then there is several short stories connecting all of this. And then in the center, it's Requiem Infernal. This one deals with the home world of the Angels Resplendent before they were called the Angels Penitent. And to be fair, again, there is no. I believe he said that you can read books independently. You can read Requiem Infernal, can read by order of publication. There is no issues there. I would say that reading in a chronological order, as I believe it was Track of Worlds website, is make every book in a order. I believe it will help of some other people, and you will gain more knowledge. So there are some stuff here within this novel that will enhance your reading of Requiem Infernal, for example, or another short stories. And so each story will enhance. So, for example, this one deals with before the Angel Resplendent before. There is a story that I read, I believe, afterwards, and within this omnibus edition, which deals with they already have transcended to Angel's Penitent name and the reason why they did it. And so this was before. So, having said that, and it's 7 minutes in, I didn't speak anything about the book itself. But what can I say about this book? So, this book again is about, it has some different stages. The first stage is about one guy that is trying to find the Ancient Resplendent base or something like that. It's a city, beautiful city. This city is almost perfect. The Ancient Resplendent are a chapter that gives high regard to everything beautiful, like art, music, architecture, and so on. They gave everything beautiful. After Space Marine takes a name of one of our time, and I would say previous, artists and so on. Caravaggio. You've got I don't remember the names, but you've got I do remember Caravaggio. Okay, the Murasaki? I don't know. I know there's some. Believe me, I read the book. Okay, there are some characters Murakami. Sorry, not Murasaki. Murakami and so on. So it's artists. There is authors and so on. Probably some way of the author giving praise to those that he enjoys reading. And again, he enhances that. He provides several pages, chapters dealing with this. And you can understand that they are a different kind of Space Marine chapter compared with the others, like Black Templars or Ultramarines and so on. At times, they remind me the Emperor's Children and Fulgurine with this perfection, I would say. Although Emperor's Children is more perfection of art and also swordsman and so on, but it's a bit different. I mean, what I mean is that it reminds me that and remind me of their fall at the same time. And again, this book deals with that, and as you can see here, it says Warhammer Horror. Okay, or is within the Warhammer Fantasy there is Warhammer Horror. Within the Warhammer 40k and Warhammer Sigmar there is Warhammer Horror. It can be either one or the other. So basically, they try to branch out. They try to make Warhammer Crime, which is set in a city, in a hive city in the were in the within the universe of Warhammer 40k, but they also try horror, and some books were present in Warhammer normal Warhammer or Warhammer 40k, and some were in Sigmar. This one, of course, it's Warhammer 40k. And why is it horror? Well, it's not horror because there are monsters or something like that. It's the slow burn, a slow burn, or where you feel the characters devolving and changing, and and either the Space Marines, but also the people that accompany these Space Marines, because there are some. Every Space Marine has like one person that accompanies him, that takes his notes, takes his memories, and creates art and so on. And so you see these slowly these things happening, and it was very interesting to see this, because it's not something that you get in the first chapter. It's something, just a word here, just a phrase there, and there is an interesting passage I'm going to read, because I don't remember if, I mean I remember, but I can paraphrase it. And you've got something that there is one character which is the the character that followed the main Space Marine, well, one Space Marine, and she said she's writing her memoirs, and she says something. Yes, still a deceiver, she typed reflexively, and almost, and in the next phrase says that's not true. Is she said, deleting the statement. So you see brief introductions of something is off, and you know that's off. Sometimes it's a phrase. Again, it's beautiful done. One of the things that I was mostly impressed is that I can speak English, I can talk English, I can write in English, I can do anything in English, to be honest. I only read in English. But the way this book is written is different. There are some words here that I was not unaware of it. I mean, probably I've read here and there some strange word, and sometimes it happens, but and I would like to know more about it. Uh, but here he writes words beautifully. I mean, you've got words like comeliness, equanimity, obsequiousness, bubbles, not bubbles of water, bubbles, which is a cheap, showy ornament piece of jewelry, ingenuous, innocent stuff, sardonic, I mean, the forced, ennui, or lank tresses, noospheric, propitiation. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading them wrong, because again, I'm only not read. I only read. I don't. I have not heard it. So maybe I'm mispronouncing it, and I'm so sorry for butchering these words. And then it's very interesting, and we see phrases like this. I mean, are we real to the resplendent Marisol, which is this woman that writes for one of the chapters, for one of the Space Marine chapters. Marisol wrote that night, or are we merely bubbles, pretty curiosities to be collectively, briefly taught, with then preserved and displayed to succor their vanity. There are some, again, beautiful words. For example, when seeing someone old, he writes, a miasma of terrible age hung over the sleeper. This is because you're seeing someone very old sleeping and so on. So the way it's written, it's beautiful done. It's about it's a, this is a theatrize. I mean, that's the word, of corruption and bad stuff for that can creep on you. You know, these dark emotions that can creep on you, and it feels a prequel that's of something that is coming, and I really enjoy this, and I really love this. To me, the only complaint I would say that I have this is that in the end I don't have the ending. I mean, we have an ending, but you know that this is the first of something else, and as you read other novels, it enhanced this one. So after reading The Cult of the Spiral Dawn and thinking maybe he is not for me, it made me okay. I want to read everything from him now, and so after this one, I started reading several short stories within this omnibus edition, because there are in total 18 tales within this universe. Several are, the vast majority are short stories. Novels, I believe there are 4 or 5, 4, I don't know. I have yet to read Requiem Infernal, which is again a novel, and I have to read Firecast, which is the first book he wrote. And I'm enjoying this novel. For example, there is a story here which I read now, which is called The Crown of Thorns, that we follow already the Space Marine resplendent, but they are no longer there. They are now called the Angels Penitent. And why is that? You have to read this to understand why. But the dealings with this book, it made this book possible. I mean, because here you understand why they had to change, or why they were made to change, and they change a lot. And I would say that this was one of the most interesting Warhammer 40k novels I've read, in terms of, again, how the stories progress, how the story is, in terms of the fall. It's not action-packed scenes. There are some action scenes, nothing major. There are some horror scenes, without any doubt. And I think it's very beautiful. He mates this with hermetic, the principle of hermetic, which deals with, and they say a lot of this phrase, which is as within, so without, or as above, so below. And this deals with the perception of, as I said, hermetic principle, which states that at the personal internal state, their thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and whatever, energy, and so on, directly shapes and reflects the external reality. And it deals with this. You'll have to investigate more, as I did, because I was interested to see as within, so without, and this made me think, what this has to do with Iron Warriors, because Iron Warriors as like metal within, or something like that, within, without, or something like that. If you know Warhammer 40k, you know what I'm talking, and the principle is the same. And I'm interested to see more of this. I'm interested to read more of Peter. It doesn't seem to be written anything for 2 years now, but who knows? I, to be honest, was surprised by this, and that I understand now why people and love this author. Is different from other Warhammer 40k. If you want a beautiful written story, that's, you go there. So thank you all. Sorry for the length, but I had to speak more about this. Thank you and have a great day.